Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out Britain in 1984, a year of change.
Welcome to the Retro Rollback as we continue our series of Britain in the 1980s. Nostalgia and memories guaranteed as we look back on the news, headlines and more from one of the most pivotal and divisive years of the decade.
Really?
It's 1984.
Interesting. Most divisive years. When I think of 1984, I think of the most quintessentially 80s year. I feel like that's the year that the decade was made. Maybe 82. 82 was special, but I do feel like 84 was the nail in the coffin of the 70s. Sure, I'm going to go with that. Yes.
The year had an unassuming start with the first major headlines coming in February.
Innocence.
And it was good news in the northeast when Nissan signed an agreement and announced their plans to build a car manufacturing plant in Washington on the outskirts of Sunderland. The plant opened in 1986, creating 470 jobs and seeing foreign cars manufactured in the UK for the first time.
Nissan's a good brand. I think y'all call it Nissan? That hits my ear weird. I had a Nissan. I used to have a Nissan 350Z. It was awesome. I loved it. I no longer have it. Anyway.
Staying with cars, Austin Rover announced in February that the long-running Triumph brand would disappear from the motoring landscape, with the last cars to be manufactured in the summer after 63 years. 1980.
See, this car looks like it would be really popular in the 80s. That looks like an 80s car. Doesn't it? I wonder why they stopped.
1984 saw the withdrawal of the halfpenny coin. Chancellor Nigel Lawson made the announcement and demonetised and withdrew the coin officially in December. The halfpenny was introduced in 1971 during decimalisation and had only been in circulation for 13 years.
Really? No. Isn't there some old folk song that talks about a halfpenny? Contraction of halfpenny.
Halfpenny.
Halfpenny. Pre-decimal coin. The British pre-decimal halfpenny. Oh, the original one was minted in 1860. It was minted in bronze. In the run-up to decimalization, it ceased to be legal tender in 1969. Although halfpennies dated 1970 were minted as part of a final pre-decimal commemorative set. Okay, now I get it.
They were tiny and used to get stuck in your pocket and always ended up in the washing machine.
It seems like a worthless piece of money. Way to go.
All eyes were on Yugoslavia in February as Sarajevo played host to the 1984 Winter Olympics.
Oh.
Great Britain's big hopes came in the ice dancing competition as Jane Torval and Christopher Dean were tipped to better their fifth place finish at the 1980 Games. It's fair to say they exceeded all expectations. If you want to see my video on the Torval and Dean story, you'll find the link in the description below.
That was a strange edit. Who are these people? Ice dancing. Christopher Dean. What is ice dancing? Oh. Figure skating. Oh. It's a legendary performance.
C'est un programme, malgré ce rythme monotone et lancinant, qui est terriblement difficile, croyez-moi.
Bolero! Maurice Ravel! Okay, this is beautiful, but every time I hear this music, I think of, I think there's a movie with Dudley Moore. It may have been Arthur. I could be wrong. But there's a sex scene, and this is the music to the sex scene. And it's like, it makes it seem procedural, like this procedural sex scene. It's very funny. Anyway. Whoa! 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 Sir, put the woman down. That's the end? Wow. Okay. Wow. They're very good. Very smooth. They won the gold. Oh, they won the gold. Congratulations, Christopher, and the woman that was with him, Torval, I think her name was.
Video on the Torval and Dean story, you'll find the link in the description below. That brings us on to March, and the month where the year and arguably Britain changed forever.
Oh, crap.
The 12th of March saw the beginning of the National Miners' Strike. a bitter dispute led by the National Union of Mine Workers against Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government, who, as part of the reform of nationalised industry, looked to radically change the industrial landscape, resulting in mass job losses and pit closures. Led by NUM President Arthur Scargill, the dispute saw mass disruption across the UK, violence, division of communities, and poverty in mining communities. The dispute lasted for a year, with miners returning to work in March 1985.
If they had a job.
We'll
Wow. Yeah, I've heard of the miners' strike. I've seen some videos about that. There were all these towns that were centered around mines, and then Thatcher closes the mines. What are these towns supposed to do? There was nothing, there was no plan for them to have jobs after that. It's like, just figure it out. Free market, figure it out. Great. Thanks, Margaret. Way to go.
return to particular flashpoints of the strike as the year progresses. But in lighter news, Andrew Lloyd Webber's newest musical, Starlight Express, opened for the first time on the 27th of March. London's Apollo Victoria Theatre was specially transformed for the production, with skating tracks installed around the auditorium, with the entire show being performed on roller skates.
I vaguely remember hearing about that. I've never seen it. They should have got Christopher Dean, right?
Chatham Dockyard in Medway closed after being used as a shipbuilding yard for over 400 years, since the reign of Henry VIII. The huge site on the Thames has since found a new purpose, being used in countless films and TV shows, including the hit BBC show Call the Midwife, which is filmed there.
A 400-year-old shipbuilding yard. That does look like, yeah, that would be a great movie set for a place like a period show. Yeah.
Into April, and we saw the escalation of the miners' strike. More than 100 pickets were arrested in violent clashes at the colliery in Creswell in Derbyshire and Babington Colliery in Nottinghamshire. It was estimated in April that only 46 out of the 176 British coal mines were still working as the strike continued.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Arthur Scargill, the leader of the National Union of Mine Workers, ruled out a national ballot of miners on whether to continue their strike, which at that point had lasted for 5 weeks. The Telecommunications Act 1984 came into force, confirming the privatization of British Telecom. Later in the year, over 50% of shares in the company were offered for sale to employees and the general public.
What is British Telecom? I've never heard of that. Oh, now it's called BT Group. I guess back then it was a phone company, but now it's everything. It's the largest provider of fixed-line broadband and mobile services in the UK, and also provides subscription television and IT services. Okay, got it. Kind of like AT&T in America, right?
Sunday, the 15th of April, was a sad day for British show business.
Who died?
ITV screened the live weekly variety show on a Sunday called Live from Her Majesty's, featuring a wide variety of music, comedy and other acts hosted by Jimmy Tarbuck. On the 15th, comedian Tommy Cooper was booked to perform, and as he put on his cloak, preparing to do a magic trick live on stage, he stumbled and fell back against the curtain, slumping to the ground. The audience initially laughed, thinking it was part of the act.
I don't want them to
But after a short pause, the live TV feed cut to commercials, and Tommy was soon after pronounced dead, having suffered a fatal heart attack live on stage and on live television. He was 63.
Wow.
I won't show the final footage of that scene for obvious reasons.
Thank you. That's scary, y'all. It could take any of us at any time. No, just kidding. I mean, on the bright side, he's a performer, and a lot of performers would probably love to have their death on stage. That's just the bright side. I don't know.
More bad news on the 17th, as WPC Yvonne Fletcher was shot and killed by a secluded gunman during a siege outside the Libyan embassy in London. In the event known as the 1984 Libyan embassy siege, 11 other people were also shot, but all survived. A memorial to WPC Fletcher stands today in London's St James Square.
Yvonne Fletcher, a Metropolitan Police officer, shot fired from the Libyan embassy on St. James Square by an unknown gunman. Fletcher had been deployed to monitor a demonstration against the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi and died shortly afterwards. Her death resulted in an 11-day siege of the embassy, at the end of which those inside were expelled from the country and the United Kingdom severed diplomatic relations with Libya. Wow. That's a tragedy.
March ended with the launch of a new car. Austin Rover launched its new Montego 4-door saloon, which replaced the Austin Ambassador and the Morris Etal. To May, and at a time when deindustrialisation saw many of our towns and cities grey and bleak, Liverpool was filled with colour as the International Garden Festival came to the city.
All right.
Built on derelict dockland near the Dingle area, the festival boasted 60 individual gardens, a large exhibition space, a
yellow
festival hall,
submarine.
plus numerous indoor exhibits.
What does that look like now? The Dingle area. Show me on an anatomically correct map. Liverpool. Where's the Dingle area? Dingle, Liverpool. Oh, okay. Okay. It's hard to tell where exactly it was because there are several parks there. That's cool. I like that.
In London, the city's long-awaited flood defences were officially opened by the Queen. The Thames Barrier began construction in 1974 and was completed at a cost of £535 million. May saw the conclusion...
What? $500 million? For what? A barrier? The flood defenses. In addition to the barrier, the flood defenses 18 kilometers downriver were raised and strengthened. The barrier was officially opened in May 1984 by Queen Elizabeth II. The barrier cost £461 million. There's a discrepancy. Thames Barrier. It's a retractable barrier system built to protect the floodplain of most of Greater London from exceptionally high tides and storm surges. We need that in America. We need one all the way around Florida, all up the... Actually, we need that.
May saw the conclusion of the football season, and all the silverware went to Merseyside.
Okay.
Elton John looked on from the stands at Wembley as his Watford side faced Everton in their first ever FA Cup final. But it was Everton who were victorious, winning their first trophy in 14 years as they beat the Hornets 2-0 to take the silverware. Sharp scored the opener, and a controversial second goal from Andy Gray, where he was judged by many to have fouled Watford goalkeeper Steve Sherwood by heading the ball from his hands. But was it a goal or wasn't it? There's only one thing for it. Let's put it to VAR.
VAR? Hang on, what? I don't know, looks like he caught it. Oh.
Yeah, I'd say that was a foul. So in VAR terms, no goal. Elton, you were robbed.
See? Elton, you were robbed.
It was an even better season for Liverpool as they scooped the treble of the European Cup with a penalty shootout over AS Roma, the League Cup as they beat their neighbours Everton, and the Division 1 title. Southampton enjoyed a great season as well, finishing second.
Liverpool, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Manchester United, Arsenal number 6. Nicely done, Liverpool. And Southampton.
Not so good for the Midlands clubs though. Birmingham City, Notts County and Wolves all making the drop. Meanwhile in Scotland, Aberdeen were convincing Premier League champions under the stewardship of Alex Ferguson.
Nice.
7 points clear of second place Celtic.
It's nice that a team all the way from Aberdeen, Texas can make it in the European Football League. If that's what it's called. I'm joking.
It was St Johnstone and Motherwell that dropped to Division 1. 1984 was the final year of the British Home Championship that saw the home nations compete against each other for the Jubilee Trophy. After 100 years, the final winners were Northern Ireland. Back to the bad news.
100 years? The final year of the British Home Championship. 100 years. I'm not finding anything about that. We'll take his word for it.
Back to the bad news and the loss of another showbiz legend. Eric Morecambe, one half of Morecambe and Wise, collapsed on stage at the Rosie's Theatre in Tewkesbury on the 27th of May. He died in hospital the following day of a heart attack, aged 58.
Y'all, stage fright is real. Stage fright is essentially a panic attack. I think maybe that's what he was going through. Eric Morecambe. Show me on IMDb. Morecambe and Wise. Markham and Wise. It's hard to understand the accent, I guess. Eric Morecambe. Oh, that's spelled very differently, isn't it? Show me on IMDb. Okay. Gets Ed out of here. What's he known for? The Morecambe and Wise Show, The Intelligence Men, Night Train to Murder, The Magnificent Two, The Sweeney, Simon, The Ed Sullivan Show, that's the one I've heard of. The Magnificent Two, Piccadilly Place, The Riviera Touch, The Intelligence Men. He won 7 BAFTA awards. Wow. Way to go, Eric. And you collapsed on stage. Way to make an exit. Nicely done.
Born Eric Bartholomew, he took his stage name from his birth town, where today his memory and his statue stands proud.
I love the statue.
June saw one of the most violent occurrences of the miners' strike break out in South Yorkshire.
Okay.
Picketing miners from all over the UK converged on the town of Orgreave, with the intention of stopping the flow of coal into the town's coking plant. What followed was a violent clash between striking miners and police, who were kitted out in full riot gear. The Battle of Orgreave, as it became known, saw 95 arrests and 123 injuries, including NUM President Arthur Scargill.
Okay. No one died, so I consider this a quelled incident, right? Everybody went home.
There were big changes in the education system in the UK as well, as plans were finalised to abolish O-levels and CSE exams, to be replaced by GCSE or standard grades as they were known in Scotland. The first GCSE and standard grade courses began in 1986. What a year!
Oh, okay.
And we're only halfway through.
All right.
Let's take a break from the news again and see how far our money would go. The average weekly wage in 1984 was £159 a week. Let's go! The cost to buy a TV and video recorder in the early 80s was high and beyond many people's financial means, so it was still commonplace back then to rent. DER were one of the main TV and audio rental firms in the UK, and they were offering the most common combination in 1984 that most households wanted: a big TV for the living room with a video recorder and a small TV for the bedroom. And you could rent them all as a package for £28.97 a month.
Wow. That's interesting. I do remember when VCRs first came out and video rental stores were sort of just starting and you could rent a VCR. I remember renting a Laserdisc player for my birthday. Wow. They were onto the subscription service back then.
To cars, and the Renault 5 was in direct competition with the Austin Metro in 1984 as the go-to city car. And Renault were doing a deal on a brand new one. £99 deposits and total cost to buy £3,510.
$3,000 for a car. It's I think that other car looks better. Something's up with these proportions. It doesn't look quite correct. For only £99 down and £24.98 per week, you can drive away a brand new Renault 5 Basic. There are similar easy buy schemes for the whole Renault 5 range. 9.4% APR. Get out of here with that. No. Get out of here with that. No.
You'd struggle to buy a wing mirror for that today. And finally, for people like me that can't cook for toffee, frozen meals from Asda would do the job nicely. Beef, prawn or chicken curry for under £1 each.
Wow.
Lovely.
Oh, those were the days, man. A meal for $1. Just sit with that for a minute. A meal for $1. £1, excuse me. But, well, okay, moving on.
Okay, back to the second half of the year, and in July the government announced it was to abolish dog licences. The Local Government Act 1988 was ratified, and from 1988, good boys like these no longer needed government paperwork.
Oh, they can just drive. They don't need a license. That's great.
Any excuse to show cute dogs on the video. A blaze took hold of one of England's largest cathedrals. York Minster was engulfed in flames on the 9th of July, a fire that's thought to have started as a result of an electrical storm. The repair took 4 years and cost over £2 million.
Wow, that reminds me of when Notre Dame caught on fire. Was the roof. Because that's the wood part, I guess. The rest of it's fire resistant.
Media tycoon Robert Maxwell purchased Mirror Group newspapers in July for a price of £113 million. Maxwell was at the helm of the newspaper group until his death in 1991. July saw the Summer Olympics open in Los Angeles, and it was a decent year for Great Britain. Amongst the gold medals were Sebastian Coe in the men's 1500 metres, Daley Thompson in the decathlon, Tessa Sanderson in the javelin, and Steve Redgrave in the rowing.
He is way ahead. That is a well-deserved gold medal. Congratulations.
July ended in tragedy as a mainline Edinburgh to Glasgow passenger train hit a cow on the line at around 80 miles per hour, causing the train to derail and lift off the tracks near Polmont. The Polmont rail disaster resulted in 13 deaths and 61 injuries.
Oh my god, all from a cow. That cow's an ass. What an ass cow.
August saw controversy as barefoot South African runner Zola Budd, who was granted British citizenship earlier in the year, collided with Mary Decker in the 3,000 metres final at the Olympics. Neither won any medals. It's September now and another royal baby was born. Princess Diana gave birth to a boy which they named Henry Charles Albert David, or Harry as he became better known. So
I feel like they just... Wow. Didn't she just have the first one, William, in the last video? And in the video before that, they just got married. They didn't wait, y'all.
To October now, and a new children's TV programme made its debut and became an instant hit. Based on the Railway series books by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry and his son Christopher, Thomas the Tank Engine made his first appearance, with the stories narrated by former Beatle Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Since then, over 500 episodes were produced over 24 seasons.
Wow.
October the 12th saw the IRA bombing of the Grand Hotel in Brighton during the Conservative Party conference. Many MPs, cabinet ministers and the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher were in residence when the device detonated just before 3 a.m. The Prime Minister escaped unscathed, but 5 people died in the blast.
Dang. Oh man, that's terrifying. The Grand Hotel in Brighton, is it still there? Did they repair it? Or did they leave the hole as a reminder to everyone? Grand Hotel, Brighton, Brighton, England. It's still there? You can stay there for $94 a night. Okay, yeah, they repaired it, looks like. Right? Oh yeah, they redesigned some of it too, it looks like. Looks very nice. Surprisingly cheap, though.
Many MPs, cabinet ministers and the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher were in residence when the device detonated just before 3 a.m.
Almost got
The
her.
Prime Minister escaped unscathed, but 5 people died in the blast. The following day, history was made in British darts when John Lowe stepped up to the Oche and threw the first ever televised 9-dart finish and bagged himself a cool £100,000. Back to television.
Wow, for darts. I need to get good at darts.
And bagged himself a cool £100,000.
Let's party, John.
Back to television and the debut of a programme that was to become a weekly staple on ITV until 2010. The Bill was commissioned as a series after the success of the pilot in 1983 called Wooden Top. The show followed the officers and crimes of the fictional London suburb of Sun Hill. At the time of recording, The Bill was Britain's longest-running police drama series. BBC.
The Bill. Did that say it by Steve McQueen? Devised by Jeff McQueen. Devised. That's interesting. In America, it would say created by. Devised. Oh, that's funny.
BBC News presenter Michael Burke hit the headlines in October as he reported from Ethiopia on the famine that was claiming countless lives. The harrowing scenes resonated with many and inspired Bob Geldof to pull together the great and the good of music under the name of Band-Aids to record a Christmas charity single. And together with Mid-Year of Ultravox, they had written the song, rallied the troops and had the song in the can in time for the Christmas chart. Do They Know It's Christmas went on to raise millions for Ethiopia.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was, after We Are the World, right?
Yes, 1984 was a big year full of highs and lows, although I think mainly lows. And don't forget to pop your memories of 1984 in the comments section below and let me know what you remember about 1984 and what you were doing back then as well. It's always great to get your memories, and it also gives me ideas for future videos as well. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like this type of content, then click subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos. It's completely and utterly free. And if you missed any of the other videos in the series, the playlist link is also below, and there's a video on screen just now that you can check out if you want to.
Y'all be sure to go to Retro Rollback and like and subscribe.
In the meantime, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again the next time.
Alright. See you next time, sir. He didn't really mention music at the time, did he? 1984 in British music. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. From Liverpool. Relax. Relax. Don't do it. Was banned from BBC, but it probably made people want to hear it more. The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. Wham! Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Madonna, Holiday, Like a Virgin. Prince, When Doves Cry, Purple Rain. Y'all remember these? Y'all remember these? Stevie Wonder, I just called to say I love you. Y'all, I remember that. For some reason, that's the memory that I retained. Oh, Paul McCartney duet with Stevie Wonder, Ebony and Ivory. Shaka Khan's I Feel For You. I Feel For You. Eurythmics, #1 hit, There Must Be an Angel. Oh, I don't know that one. Do they know it's Christmas? I guess that's the one music thing that they mentioned. And I think that's kind of a Western-centric viewpoint to have. Don't you know it's Christmas? Stop starving. Anyway, hindsight's 2020, right? I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. People who are buying me, like, someone out there bought this for me. And I'm drinking it right now. And I appreciate that. Thank you for that. It's nice. It's a nice perk. Keeps me caffeinated. Keeps me alert and addicted. But thank you for it. I'd also like to thank y'all for watching this with me. And I'll see you next time. Later.